This is Uncouth Tangents. I'm your host, B.
And I'm your host, Dove.
And welcome to the show. I had a conversation with a friend of mine talking about how, like, in the 80s and 90s, we were obsessed with action heroes who were not necessarily, like, American, except for Bruce Willis. He's the only one that, like, John McClane, like, that's it.
Yeah.
But, like, Sylvester Stallone was, like, mush-mouthed, like, Italian, sort of, like, like that. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's from Austria, and then Jean-Claude Van Damme. Who's
you're not going to mimic those?
No, well, I mean, I could do all the same. It's all going to sound the same. Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then and Bruce Willis.
No, I love Bruce Willis so much.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
I don't remember what we were talking about, but like just action heroes in general. You called me Steven Seagal before we started recording.
I did, because you wear your slick back ponytail. That's the only reason.
Uh-huh.
That's the only reason.
I wasn't even checking to see if my levels or whatever. I don't care.
You should.
Blowout.
This is the one that I'm editing. Can you please?
Sorry.
Not make life difficult.
I think you made life difficult for yourself. Because...
usually do. But go ahead, continue. Tell me why. Tell me why I ruined my life this week.
Because you said it's going to be hard for you to edit, and you kind of just spoke real loudly into the mic.
Damn.
Sorry. I thought I was on mine, and I boosted the volume, and you said damn really loudly.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay. All right, there we go. I was super low, so I don't know.
You're ruining my life.
I was ruining your life. You're not. That was just completely unusable audio. That whole thing of my impressions of all the action heroes.
Thing?
Yeah, the entire thing was gone. Don't even bother.
Oh, because it was super low?
Yeah, it was super low. Anyways, so this episode, we wanted to give you guys kind of a glimpse into our lives of DC and just kind of like introduce you to the town as if, you were a tourist and not a local listener who's already friends with us.
Oh, yeah.
So basically...
the other people out there.
Yeah, like the weird person who's probably a bot that's listening to us in China. I see you out there.
Well, they can't really listen if they're a bot.
Well,
so if they
this
are
one goes
listening...
out to you, lonely bot.
Lonely bot.
Lonely bot in China. Or maybe it's just some guy who saw our logo and was like, that looks just like me. I'm gonna listen to this.
Looks just like me as in he's the one that's saying this, or looks just like me as in you're the one that's saying it?
I can be both.
Oh, okay.
No,
just go ahead, drink your drink.
Okay.
Since you popped the top so loudly. Does it have to be on the mic? Gross. Ew. So anyway, without giving
Sorry, you can't even think anymore, can you?
But this is okay because I couldn't think before.
Oh, that's okay. We both had long days.
He did. Anyway, one of the things that's really convenient about DC is the metro.
It's not convenient at all. It's actually one of the worst metros.
It actually is, but I wanted to try to be positive.
I wasn't going to be positive.
Well, I didn't want to, just shit on DC. We live here.
Don't go to Georgetown Cupcakes, okay?
No.
The place gets enough business as it is.
Why? Why was everyone going there?
Oh, it was because of a show called DC Cupcakes or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was on TLC, I think.
Right.
Yeah, there was like this huge like TV show about them. I never saw it personally. I just thought they made okay cupcakes. This is like back in late 2000s.
But you've been there before, right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's not like anything to like write home about. It's not like, oh my god, this is the best cupcake I've ever had.
But you said that before, not exactly for that place, but for a different place.
Yeah, that would be for Sticky Fingers.
Oh.
Another DC local who actually went to the they actually started in a Food Network cupcake competition. That person did, and they actually did pretty well over there.
Awesome.
So they're good, as well as Baked and Wired. I love cakes. I'm sorry, I know, like,
you love cakes.
Cakes. You know, put that
Oh,
cake inside.
cakes.
Put that cake inside another cake. Baby, you got yourself a cake.
A cake.
Yeah, a Keurig cake. You just pop it in the Keurig and it comes out of the cake. Why is that hard to understand?
I don't know if it sounded gross or if I was just trying to imagine, because you did a crank motion as if you were
I did. I don't know why I did
as
that.
if you were at a slot machine.
Come on, give me that sweet cake.
I was trying to figure out how is this cake coming out of this Keurig, which is supposed
Into my
to
mug.
dispense
It doesn't matter
liquid.
how. It's just inside a mug.
You can't actually do that though.
What?
Bake a cake inside of a mug.
Oh, I thought you meant in a Keurig.
No. Inside the mug.
Just put the batter inside
Well,
like
if
a
you-
little water reservoir, and then it just comes out as a cake.
Maybe, but it's going to be a hot liquid cake. Hot liquid cake
They make molten lava cakes all the time.
mixings. I'm sure that's not the word, but
Mixins.
yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, you can do that inside of a mug. You put all of the ingredients inside of the mug.
Mhm.
And then,
And you just pop it in the microwave,
Yeah.
and baby, you got yourself a cake.
actually, yeah.
In a microwave?
Yeah.
I was joking about that.
You were. But it's actually true. The same way that some people make eggs in the microwave.
People make eggs in the microwave?
I don't, but there's a lot of people who do.
Is this a DC thing?
I don't know. Either that's my cue to shut up about microwavable foods and talk about DC,
No.
or
I was trying to
really
be clever
don't
and round
know.
it back, but
You know what is a DC thing?
huh?
Mumbo sauce.
What is mumbo sauce?
What? Mumbo sauce? I don't have the actual recipe. I wish
That's
I
okay.
did.
I'll look it up later and not think about it right now.
You should. But when I was younger, you would go to like the corner store,
Mhm.
as you know, most states or places have that, and you would order chicken wings with mumbo sauce, and it was just a
Just
particular
any place, like you go to 7-Eleven.
wherever chicken wings were sold. Not necessarily a 7-Eleven. It would have to be like a convenience store that wasn't a 7-Eleven. They still have those, or they did.
Like a mom and pop's, like
Yes.
convenience store.
Yeah.
Oh, like what do they call them in New York?
It isn't the quarter store.
No, in New York they call them
Food buildings.
food libraries. No, they're bodegas.
We don't call them that here.
Yeah.
At least I've never heard it. But I guess it would be a store kind of like that,
Hmm.
where it isn't. It has the same exact thing as the 7-Elevens do. It's just they don't have the 7-Eleven sign. And
So they have
they're-
Slurpees, but no.
Actually, no, they don't have Slurpees.
Hmm.
So I guess it isn't like 7-Eleven. But anyway, you go in there and you ask for your chicken wings,
Hmm.
and then you ask for the mumbo sauce.
Is that still available? Like I could just walk into any.
The recipe changed. They
so no one
changed
likes
it.
mumbo sauce anymore, or what?
It isn't that. I don't know.
Is the animal they made mumbo
I-
sauce from extinct?
I have no idea. I don't know who is in control of the
The mumbo,
the mumbo sauce
the mumbo
recipe.
bureaucracy that is
Yeah.
preventing us from having the real true sauce.
Yes, but they did change it.
Like in what way is it like just more sour?
It's a different flavor. Yeah, it's almost
completely.
it's closer to like a sweet and sour sauce, where the original one was a little bit closer to ketchup, but not. It didn't taste like ketchup. It wasn't ketchup.
Are you sure?
I'm not
It's not
really
just fancy.
sure.
It's the fancy ketchup. You've been having regular ketchup
Well,
this
you
entire
can't
time.
you can't buy it in stores. So it was, as far as I know, if you do, it's not the same flavor. But either way,
What was the last place you had a good mumbo sauce?
it was called the 7 store. Not related to 7-Eleven. It was definitely called the Seven
Okay.
Store.
No, I believe you now.
And it this was in the 90s. In the
Okay.
90s.
I'm sure one of our listeners is like, I know where that is.
Maybe because it was a little bit closer to Maryland. So I guess it would be DMV
Yeah, I'm
versus
more of the Virginia side of DC, which doesn't exist, but
versus DC specific.
yeah.
But that's okay. So I know a little bit more about the Maryland side of
DC is technically in Maryland. There's a river that separates.
kinda.
It was DC. The shape of DC was supposed to be a like square, but because of like Civil War and everything, that part in Virginia never completed. So that's why it's like a perfect angle in Maryland, and then there's the river.
Oh yeah.
Like-
It does have that awkward shape to
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, that part that's Alexandria and Arlington, that was all supposed to be DC, but you know.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. You know, people change, you know?
Yeah.
States be stating.
Murders went down. You know, because of the war.
The plagues.
Yeah.
So speaking of
way.
plagues,
Oh.
the metro is awful. Do not. My recommendation, if you're traveling around DC, is to kind of just go
Take
with
a
Lyft.
Lyft.
Yeah. Mostly because like the metro catches on fire all the time. Just look it up. Just write Metro DC and fire, and like a million search results will come up. And they're all
There's
like
probably like one
they're
for
all
today.
different ones. Like it's not all. Like, yeah.
Whatever today is that you're listening to this, there's probably an article about today.
Yeah.
Like, either like a delay or a fire.
Yeah, they have a Metro app that you can download onto your phone. So you
That
can
says when
find
it's
out.
on fire.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a fire alert. Like, don't worry, everybody. It's just smoke this time. No fire.
It's usually smoke.
Yeah, it's usually smoke. But yeah, just take a lift and get around like that. But
That is
also,
so strange. It's like we don't even have like the oldest metro rail system.
no, we don't. It's really so. Not only does it catch on fire all the time, it's super poorly planned. Like there's like metro stops clumped together, and then there'll be like a huge distance where there isn't a metro stop, and then that's the place where you want to go. Like the places that don't have metro stops are the best places in DC. Weirdly, because it's like Adams Morgan. There's no metro stop there.
That is so true. Adams Morgan is such a party area.
There's no metro stop in Georgetown.
That's
Not
very
that you
true.
really want to go there, because I just said Georgetown Cupcakes sucks.
Well,
So-
at least not for parties.
Yeah.
But I did bar hop
Yeah, you could bar hop around
in
Georgetown.
Georgetown. But
It's
I
like-
prefer Adams Morgan.
Yeah,
Or
Adams-
at least I did when I was 25.
So Georgetown's kind of where you go bar hopping if you're in college, or if you're just a low level. Like, yeah, I'll just go around there. And I
What
guess,
do you mean a low level?
like I don't know. And then you graduate, and then you go to Adams Morgan, and then that's where like all the better things are.
Oh, so you're saying just like a younger age
yeah.
is Georgetown.
Yeah, it's generally because of the campus, obviously, but
Yeah, I can see that. Adams Morgan is where I got my first tattoo.
oh yeah, I was with you.
Yeah, you were there. You're always there for all of. Well, for most of my first things in life. Not when I first, learned how to ride a bike or anything like that.
None of the important stuff.
A tattoo is important.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what I want. Like
Hopefully, I'll be there for your first tattoo.
my ideas are so like I can never stick with an idea that I like for an extended amount of time. Like there's clothes I don't even like after a year. So I don't know how I could handle a tattoo being on me for a while.
Yeah, that's true for me as well. That's why I waited until I was a lot older to get a tattoo. Because most of the ones that you get when you're 18 or
They say like keep on trucking.
yeah.
Keep on trucking, Mom.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few horrible tattoos around the area, but either way, Adams Morgan was where I got my first tattoo. It was good. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, you weren't drunk though. You weren't bar hopping and then got a tattoo.
No. No. I was out. No, I wasn't allowed. And I think Adams Morgan was where I went to get one of my piercings too. Anyway, if you want to get
If you want to get pierced or tatted,
yeah,
just go to Adams Morgan.
Yeah, highly recommend.
There's also a really good record store there too.
Really?
Yeah, it's like kind of in the basement. It's not bad.
Oh, of a what? Of a house?
I don't know. You know how Adams Morgan's set up. It's like these are originally houses, so they kind of are.
That's true.
Yeah.
But what's above it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think a restaurant.
Maybe you can explore one day.
Nope. You're getting the authentic thing. I did no research at all for this.
That is so true. Yeah, that's the style of lots of the buildings here. Isn't the falafel place in a townhouse shape?
Yeah,
building?
falafel place. It's Amsterdam Falafels. They're in DC as well, actually in Adams Morgan. Basically, This is just an ad for Adams Morgan.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a really good Amsterdam Falafels place.
Amsterdam falafels and cakes.
Yep, and cakes. And then like they actually expanded a bunch of new locations. So there's one in
Amsterdam falafel?
Yeah. There's like multiple locations now. There's like 3 of them in DC. The original one is in Adams Morgan, and I think they still take euros. So if you come back from from a Euro trip, you can
nope, not a Euro trip, a Europe a trip.
Europe trip. So yeah, just spend the rest of your euros there. Don't get it traded. You won't get the full value because of the exchange currency, and people are assholes. Anyways, continuing on. There's other parts of DC, but you probably don't want to go there.
What are you talking about?
Hmm?
What are you talking about? Places you don't want to go to in DC?
It's not because they're bad. It's just like there's nothing really happening over there. Take the 495 and go around. Don't go through the city.
Oh, that actually is a good point, because traffic, even though DC is not that big, what is it, like 14.5 miles just across
Feet.
or something like that? Feet. It's not that far, but it takes an hour or two just to travel through it.
Yeah, there's what is it? Everybody comes in. Nobody really lives in DC who works at our office. Everybody commutes in pretty much.
It's a huge commuter city, so most people commute into DC. There are some people that still live here. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's so weird. So many people that live in DC.
Yeah.
But then they work someplace out of DC.
So if you're traveling around, or if you're going to a conference or whatever, and you think you can get an Airbnb like in some DC suburb and then try and travel into the city, just know that's like 45 minutes on average, like for within the circle of 495.
Yep.
And then an hour plus outside of that circle.
Yep.
So
very true.
Yeah, like it's just a super traffic-y town. I think we're in the top 5 for worst traffic.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. It's constantly changing because, different demographics and whatever.
So we go from rank 3 to rank
Yeah, we could go to 5. We could be 5 any day. 5. One day we'll get to 5. I want to say we're consistently in the top 3, though.
Yeah, I think LA beats us as the worst.
Yeah.
Every time.
Which is why they want self-driving cars, because they're just going to fall asleep in their car in traffic.
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that how you get by?
Yeah. Well, I don't do it on purpose.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah. It's just so much traffic all the time. Like there was one year where it snowed just a little bit. It was only about 2 inches of snow, maybe 1.5 inches. Mm-hmm. And the traffic was so terrible. It took me 7 hours just to get home.
I think I had it worse because...
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I was 6 hours in traffic in the city, and as soon as I left DC, it just took me an hour to get home. It wasn't even that bad.
There was like a huge snowstorm, and it took forever to get home because when we were there, I took 3 modes of transportation. I took the metro, I took a bus, and something that Virginia commuters to DC do. It's called slugging, which is basically
Oh yeah.
hopping into somebody else's car at at a pickup station, and then you guys just ride HOV for free. So
Where you headed, darling?
so from our on the way home, I had to take the bus to the metro. The bus was delayed because of all the snow and ice. Then the metro was delayed because of all the snow and ice.
So this was the same day.
Yeah, this is all one day.
Wait, the same day that I was.
Oh no, not the
Okay,
same
so
day.
this is a different snowstorm.
This is a different snowstorm. And then Springfield interchange is one of the worst interchanges because it's full of Virginia drivers, and I will admit that a lot of Virginia drivers do not know how to drive.
Cannot drive.
Yeah.
You want to know what the reason or the theory that I have that you guys cannot drive, and some of my friends will be offended. So
No.
I apologize.
I think everybody is awful in the DC area, but everybody likes to blame each other. So
Probably, but
nobody's willing to take the blame. So I'm the first to be like, okay, I'll take the blame.
But no one in Virginia goes to driving school, or
Yeah, we do.
you guys, once you guys get to a certain age, you automatically get your license. Or it used to be that way.
It used to be because
So-
that's not the case anymore.
So all the people that are our age didn't go to driving
I see.
school
Mm-hmm.
because they just waited until they turned the
Oh,
legal
wait.
age.
No, you're right. I do have a friend who did that.
Yeah, and so no one. And that's my theory of why it's a lot of people in Virginia that do not know how to drive because they just waited for the legal age
That's a fair
and
point.
got their license.
That kind of makes sense. So anyways, on the way back home, the Springfield interchange, if you ever see it in person, it is the wildest set of concrete structures you'll see in the area. That within itself is kind of a sightseeing sort of thing, just because of all the bridges and things that it has to run to connect 495 to 95 to 66. No, not 66. Just a bunch of different roads everywhere, like Franconia, Springfield, metro stations there. It's just an insane thing. So that entire place, because all the bridges and everything are above ground, everything iced over, so nobody could merge anywhere. So anybody that tried to get it to the top
sucks.
slipped down, and anybody who was at the top, already at the top, were stuck up there or would slide down and hit another car.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is intense.
So that took me, I want to say close to 10 hours.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That is the reason why I do not drive in the snow in DC.
Yeah.
I'm also a nervous driver so when it comes to snow because of all of my experiences driving in DC. So I just stay home at this point.
And that's the lesson of DC, really, is just stay home.
There's some really beautiful places in DC, though.
Nonsense.
Yeah, Great Falls Park.
That's not really in DC.
Where is it? It's on the border.
Yeah, it's on the border, but it's not like in DC.
Well, look, everything I talked about was like bordering DC.
All right, 2 hours away, there's a great mountain to go
It's not
snowboarding on. It's
2
called
hours.
Whitetail.
No, that's not the same thing.
Okay.
Great Falls Park is amazing.
Okay.
It's the best DC can do.
People like to go to the, what is that garden place?
Is it?
The Botanical Gardens.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What's that garden place?
But there is a national arboretum.
I was going to say, yeah.
There you go.
I like that place more, actually, because it's a huge open area that you can just walk around in.
I've been there several times.
Yeah?
That is a nice place. And that is actually in D.C. Is in
Yep.
Northeast D.C.
Yep.
Close to South Dakota Avenue.
Oh, yeah, you know another place that's like uppity and fun? I realize like all these...
Costco.
Yeah, that's too. I realize that all these places are like really rich, white people centered areas. Like
What do you mean?
Adams Morgan, Georgetown, and the place I'm going to mention, which is National Harbor.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
none of those are metro accessible because they don't want poor people there.
If you can afford to ride the metro, we don't want you here.
Yeah, it's a lot of that.
Oh.
But that being said, if you want to be if you want a free, fun, cheapskate way to do it, and I always forget like how awesome the museums are. The museums in DC are actually pretty well done.
And they're free.
Yeah, they're all free.
I always get, I don't want to say upset, but I guess shocked when I go out of the state
Oh.
and I want to go to a museum.
$20.
Yes, I know. Like, I've Like $20 to look at things?
Yeah. Okay, so like don't freak out when you see there's tickets that you have to get. That's only because there's only a set amount of people that can come in for that viewing that day. Most of the time. Like these are things like the Holocaust Museum or parts of the Hirshhorn.
I think you do pay for that one.
Do you?
The Holocaust Museum, yeah.
Well, that's a fun ride too.
Oh, no. I think that one you pay for because maybe the proceeds. Oh, okay. If none of this is true, I'm just going to cut it out. But I think some of the proceeds go somewhere. So, I don't want to give out too much information just in case I'm wrong. But I think that's
It
why.
goes right to the Illuminati because the Holocaust never existed.
Oh, no. But I think that's why that one is a paid museum.
Okay. Well, as far as paid museums go, the Phillips Collection, which has the best curators I've ever seen, like they match things up that you wouldn't expect, and they do a really good job of explaining what the art is and how to best understand it and cross-compare it with something else or what it means contextually for the time being. So they put a lot of thought and effort into what they want to show and how they present it. So I always highly recommend the Phillips Collection. They're kind of tiny, but like what you see there is usually pretty thought-provoking or powerful just to experience.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. The newest one that had just opened up is the African American Museum, which I don't know if you've been to yet.
I have not.
My sister went and she thought it was completely awesome. Like just all the stories and history of everything in America having to deal with African Americans and the adjustments that had to be made or things that were fought for, just a lot of news stories that were kind of covered up or things that, you know, people just didn't know about because it opened up, I think this past year, or they recently renovated it. Because there's this huge like push to like go there.
Yeah, I think at least a year ago.
Yeah, at least a year ago or something like that. So yeah, do you have like any places that you like going or nah? Is that it?
When it's in DC, I guess most of the concerts, like whenever comedians come to town.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of comedians that come here.
Oh yeah,
Dave
I
Chappelle.
always go. Yeah, he's from the area, the DMV, but not necessarily DC.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt's actually from my area, my neck of the woods, actually. Yeah, so anytime you're around DC and just want to do stuff, you can always hit us up on Twitter. Look us up.
Oh, we're gonna go too?
Huh?
We're inviting ourselves out with the peeps.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. Either way, DC, take it or leave it. Don't really know. Mixed feelings. We live here. We complain about it, but we don't seem to be moving anyplace else.
So remember to write us and invite us to your DC adventures. We're at Uncouth Tangents. http://www.uncouth-tangents.com.
The letter dot?
Yeah.
Dot is not a letter.
It's in there somewhere.
It's a symbol.
Yeah, like Prince.
Goodbye, everybody. I love you. Bye-bye.